Welcome back to the Bigger Than Birth podcast, where we're celebrating bigger bodies and beautiful births. I'm your host, Victoria Gaba, and each week we will be bringing you the real stories of plus-size moms as they share their journey through fertility, pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. These stories highlight what it's like to navigate through this experience as a woman in a bigger body in hopes of creating representation for plus-size moms, both present and future. Thank you for being part of this community as we share these stories that are so much bigger than birth. Hi everyone, welcome to today's show. In today's episode, we are joined by Keyerrá, who shares her powerful, heartfelt birth story filled with truly unexpected twists and incredible strength. Keyerrá speaks openly about the distinct anxieties and vulnerabilities of navigating pregnancy as a Black plus-size woman in a rural healthcare system in the Midwest. What began as a scary early misdiagnosis of pregnancy loss quickly changed and unfolded into a high-risk journey. Keyerrá discusses having a subchorionic hematoma, one random severe blood pressure spike towards the end of pregnancy, and ultimately an emergency C-section after going into labor naturally due to losing the fetal heartbeat. Yet, despite every curveball, Keyerrá found immense peace in an exceptional care team who truly listened to her and held her hand through every critical moment. She also opens up about how pregnancy unexpectedly shifted her career path, proving that while motherhood might change your timeline, you can absolutely still pursue your education and professional passions. Keyerrá wraps up by emphasizing the vital importance of prioritizing your mental health, leaning on therapy, and seeking support throughout pregnancy and postpartum. This conversation was so inspiring, and Keyerrá is such a strong woman with an absolutely infectious laugh, so I hope you all enjoy this episode as much as I did. I would like to note, as always, we will link any resources mentioned in the show notes below, but we will have another link below because Keyerrá's son, Karan, is actually in a contest right now for Toddler of the Year, so we're going to link that below. If you are listening to this live, you have until August 20th, 2026 to go vote. So please go support her and her beautiful little boy. And as always, if you want to see more of Keyerrá or her son, we will have all of those photos linked over on our social media pages. Before we hop in, I do want to give a quick trigger warning that we do briefly discuss miscarriage and that misdiagnosis that she received. So if that is not something that you would be in the mindset for right now, feel free to skip ahead in the episode or come back at a later time. All right, without further ado, let's jump into Keyerrá's story. Hey, Keyerrá, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to get into your story and hear all about the ups and downs throughout pregnancy. But we will get started by, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your son and where y'all are from?
Yep. So my name is Keyerrá. My son, he is 3. His name is Karan, and we are from Florida.
Then we will just jump right into his story. So talk us through finding out you were pregnant with Karan and then that early pregnancy journey.
Yes. So I actually found out that I was pregnant on April 13th, which at the time had no significance, but my son was born on December 13th. So I was like, oh, like 13 is our number. So I was like once, the Snapchat memories come back on your phone, you're just like, oh, wow, like I found out on this day. So I found I was pregnant April 13th, right after my birthday. So my birthday's April 4th. And honestly, like super shocked. 1, 2, I'm just like, man, like, I panicked because I always said I want to be a lawyer before a mom, which obviously these little babies, they don't care. Like, they do not care. But I was very disappointed, to be honest. And I said I never want to have kids in my 20s. I want to wait till I was in my 30s. And I was 28 when I found I was pregnant. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Here we are, rolling with the punches. And I started having like some pain in my back. And my OB at the time, like I would call his office and I'm like, I'm not feeling too good, yada, yada, whatever. I already gave them a hard time, like doing the at-home pregnancy test. And I called them and I was like, I took Plan B. I did this. I did that. Like, I can't be pregnant. I need a blood test. So I know they already thought I was crazy because I was harassing them from the beginning. And then when I was telling them like about the back pain, they're just like, oh, it's your first time being pregnant. Your body's just changing and like really dismissing it. And to like put some context there, I was in Indiana at the time. So like rural Midwest. If anyone knows anything about the Midwest, shoot, no, anyway, Indiana, like it is not the best place to be like Black and pregnant. So I'm just like, okay, they're saying it's just my body's changing, whatever. And then I remember like that Friday, I just felt this big gush. When I looked, I was bleeding, like all over my bed, everything. My family's from the Caribbean, so like this type kind of matters, but I didn't want to go to the hospital bleeding. So I went and took a shower first. Like, I'm pretty sure healthcare staff don't care if you're bleeding. I'm sure they've seen and smelled everything under the sun, but I was so like, no, I'm taking a shower first. I'm not going there like this. So I took a shower, put on like a pad, whatever, and I went. There was no rush to get me seen. It's a Friday ER, of course, whatever. Early in my pregnancy, I was still within the first trimester, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, like very early. And by the time I did get seen as like an NP or a PA, I didn't actually see an OB, no ultrasound, nothing. And they just told me that I was having a miscarriage and discharged me at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like no medication, no, just nothing. Just like go home, figure it out. Like, yeah, you're in pain, you'll be fine. And my cousin, who actually lives in Trinidad. And it's funny because his name is also Kron, but we didn't meet until as we were adults. So I hadn't gone back to Trinidad when I was a child. And like I told him that I was like, hey, I always said since like high school, when I have a kid, like a boy, his name's gonna be Kron. I'm not stealing your name, I promise. But he just randomly called me. He was like up and he was just like, hey, you up? And I'm just like, yeah, like what are you doing up? He's like, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to like talk to you, like what's going on? So I ended up like telling him everything. And his fiance at the time, she was also pregnant and she miscarried that week. Like they told her her cervix was open. That's what they told me. And I didn't even know like that was happening with him. But he just felt like within his spirit, like he needed to call me. So I was like, yeah, they said my cervix is open, whatever. They just sent me home and said I'm having a miscarriage. And I'll never forget. He told me, he's like, I want you to go to sleep tonight. He's like, I know what it looks like, but what it looks like now and what it's going to look like in the morning is going to be completely different. He's like, I just want you to go to sleep. I want you to rest. And tomorrow you need to go to a different hospital. He's like, there's no way the both of us are losing our children within the same week. And honestly, I wasn't even trying to hear that. I was just like, whatever, like, at least I'm not having a baby before I'm a lawyer. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, this has saved the day. I still have a chance to become the lawyer before mom. And but I listened to him and I'm grateful that I did because I did end up going to another hospital like an hour away to like an actual women's hospital. And the OB that was working actually was classmates with my OB when they were in school. So like when she like pulled up my chart and saw like who my OB was, she was like, oh, Dusty. She's like, I'm gonna text him and let him know I have you. And luckily they did do an ultrasound there, found out that I had a subchorionic hematoma. So I was like bleeding within my uterus. And then I was actually able to get like the good advice. I remember the nurse walked in and she was just like, okay, no boys, no toys. And I was like, what are you talking about? And that's when she like explained everything to me. And I'm just like, okay, no boys, no toys. Like that was her entrance. So I'm like, got it, no problem. But that's where I found out, like, okay, like, hey, if they would have did this yesterday, because even I told her, I was like, yeah, they said my cervix was open. She checked me out. She's like, no, she's like, I don't even know why they would say that. She's like, even if it was open, there's no way, like, less than 12 hours later, it would be closed. So she's like, I'm not really sure, like, why that happened. But luckily, like I said, she knew my OB. He ended up calling me, which I absolutely loved. It was a Sunday. That man did not, or sorry, a Saturday. That man did not need to call me. It is his day off. And he called me, apologized for like his staff not making the appointment with me and everything. He's like, I will have them call you so that they could schedule your appointment. And I started seeing him twice a week ever since.
That's awesome. So were you seeing him as a gynecologist before that, or this was your first interaction with that doctor?
No, so he was my gynecologist before that, and that is something like I will tell anybody. It is great to have an excellent care team. I know it's not easy to find good healthcare professionals, especially depending on where you're living, things of that nature. Some states, if they're like overly populated, you can't get an appointment for a long time, or if you're not getting that care, like whether it's a gynecologist, a PCP, like if you're not actively seeing someone and then something happens, and you're just kind of thrown onto the next available person. So I know there's definitely difficulties there, but I would like encourage anyone, like if you have the insurance or if you're able to do self-pay, like sliding scale fees, whatever, definitely try to establish a relationship way before like the pregnancy or finding out that you have like high blood pressure or whatever. Like try to have that relationship because you already have someone like in your corner and like willing to advocate you, know that your health history and stuff like that.
Yep. Absolutely. I think that is so important. And I think a good care team can make or break a pregnancy and birth experience. Because if you have people that, like you said, aren't in your corner or are constantly negative or putting you down, that just kind of puts a cloud over the whole experience. So finding someone preemptively, I think, is a huge win for sure.
Yes, and especially when you don't have anything going on, so you're able to, like, kinda sit down and ask the questions and see if it's a good fit versus when you are actively experiencing, like, a healthcare emergency or crisis or, and you really need to have just a doctor. It's better to already have someone versus you're experiencing, like, your own situation and then still trying to establish that care and that relationship with the provider.
So then once you kind of go through that, you realize that, hey, this baby is sticking around and you were able to get in with
Yes.
that doctor. Talk us through that first actual OB appointment and how it went from there.
Oh my gosh. So they thought I was crazy, I am sure. And if the nurse ever hears this like podcast and you're laughing at me, it's okay because I'm laughing at myself now. I'll never forget like when they put, the ultrasound like up and I'm looking at the screen and I was like, is that from the last person? And she's looking at me like, what do you mean is this from the last person? And I'm like, that's not me, right? Like this is a prank, right? And mind you, I already did the at-home pregnancy test, already did the blood work, did the ultrasound from like the bleeding, episode. Clearly, we all know I'm pregnant. I'm just like, no, that's not right. This is a prank. This is the last person's ultrasound. And she's just like, was really trying to be comforting. And I was very happy because I was like my OB, he's male, and he could obviously tell that I was not like in a good headspace. So he sent in a nurse practitioner to speak with me. And she actually said the same thing. She's like, I was your age when I had my first baby. And she's like, I just graduated from nursing school. And I was just like, how could I be pregnant? How could I spend all these years in school and now I'm throwing it away because I have a baby and I have to be home with this baby? And she was like, but try this. She was older by this time. Like she already had kids, grandkids, all of this stuff. And she was like, trust me, like this little detour that you think is changing the whole trajectory of your life, it's changing it for the better. And like at the time, I wasn't trying to hear that. Obviously, I'm just like, no, my baby's not gonna say my mom's a lawyer. My baby's gonna say my mom's a farm tech. Like I didn't want that. So I was just like, she was very encouraging, but in the moment, I just wasn't like receptive of it. But I'm very grateful, however, that she did share that with me. Because like as the pregnancy like continued, especially like once I had him, like you see your baby and like all the emotions, all the love, like it just floods like all over. And you're just like, okay, like you don't care. Like you just want to know that I love you, you love me, and we are in this together. But yeah, like throughout the pregnancy, I still experienced like issues just with like my own health. Like I was losing a lot of weight. Like I had lost, I think 30 and 40 pounds. And I was in therapy at the time. Like I was in therapy prior to conceiving my son. So my therapist was just like really working with my OB and was like, yeah, she's really struggling with this a lot. My OB's like, oh, she's just having food aversions. And my therapist was like, no, no, no. Like this is not just food aversion. This girl is not handling this well. So, but it was difficult. Like, it really was difficult. I'm just like, okay, I'm in Indiana because I moved to Indiana for college. So, I'm in Indiana away from my family. My mom had passed when I was 18. So, there wasn't like that, oh, I could just run to my mom. My dad lives in a different country. So, it was really just a lot. And I was just like, okay, like, have to figure this out, you know? So I'm going to like all of the appointments, seeing my body change. My blood pressure like spiked one day, like, cause I was, going to a chiropractor cause this boy, he was so big, he was trying to kill me. Like, I could barely walk, do anything. So I was going to the chiropractor, but they also offered pregnancy massages and I would get a pregnancy massage twice a week and see the chiropractor 3 times a week. So I was literally there like all the time. And just that, like I had my appointment, like I said, I was seeing my OB twice a week since from the subchorionic hematoma. So I was seeing him every Tuesday and Thursday. So that Thursday I did my blood work. Everything came back from the lab Friday. Everything was fine. Monday, I was sitting in that office and I just felt so nauseous and so hot. And I'm like, I don't feel good. And luckily, my chiropractor, my OB had delivered her kids like 10 years prior, and she was still seeing him as her gynecologist. So she knew him. And she was like, no, no. She's like, "I'm gonna call, like, the on-call nurse." She's like, "I still have the number saved in my phone. I'm sure it hasn't changed." She's like, "I'm gonna call and let them know, like, you're not feeling too good." And sure enough, he's like, had me come in. My blood pressure was, like, 190 something over, like, 150 something, just, like, spiked out of nowhere. And he was busy, so he wasn't able to come down to the ER. But again, he called. Just love him so much. This man calls. Like, I've never had a doctor that calls me ever. Like, maybe they'll send a little message like on your patient profile, but like actually calling, never had that. And he called and he was like, this OB, I was like, I already called down. I let them know that you're coming. This is the OB's name. This is who's gonna be seeing you. He's like, I've been working with him for years, blah, blah. I trust him with you. And like that was something he has said throughout the course of my pregnancy, even during the delivery, that like if he trusted someone with me. And I really took that to heart because I'm like, you understand my perspective being Black in this state, that I would obviously want to be seen by someone that you also trust.
Yep, absolutely. And to give you that peace of mind.
I needed that. I really did. Like, 'cause it's like you want to advocate for yourself, but you're also experiencing everything for the first time. So you're like, I don't know if this is wrong or is it just in my head? You're reading things online. So it's just, you're nervous. So that OB, he was great. However, like there's just things when you work that may not be textbook, but you just know about it. So like at first when I came in, they thought maybe I had a blood clot. So they had like this big weird machine. I've never even seen it before. They just had me like sprawled out and they're checking like all over my body, trying to see if I have a blood clot. That didn't happen. Then they finally, like, they did my lab work, blood work, they're waiting for labs to come back. They finally get to do an ultrasound, to see my son. He's fine. He literally punched the probe, like, so hard that it bounced off my belly. Even when the OB told me, he's like, look, your baby's mad in there. He's like, he's making a fist. And I was like, no. And I'm looking like, oh my God, he is. Like, he's like, he's about to punch. And sure enough, he just shot his arm right up. Like, but he was having fun. Like, but I really needed that. Like, just the jokes. I'm glad that my baby was acting like he was acting too. And then that OB, he was like, listen, the only thing I see different is your blood volume has nearly doubled, like, or doubled, like almost tripled from that Thursday draw to that Monday. So he was like, you've seen this before, especially like how I had the subchorionic hematoma, with the bleeding. He's like, I've seen this before where moms are losing blood early on and then your body finally like is like, oh, we're having a baby. There's something in here. We gotta ramp it up. Like, he's like, so I've seen it before. He was like, I know by tomorrow your blood pressure will be fine. Did I believe him? No. So I'm just like, there has to be something actually wrong. No one has the 190 over 150. Like, there's something obviously wrong. And then sure enough, the next day, my blood pressure was like 110 over 72. And I'm just like, wow, he was right.
That's so interesting because, like you said, you were losing the blood early on, and then your body just had that moment where it clicked. And how many weeks were you at that point?
Oh my gosh, I was close to delivery. So this was in November. Yeah, because I had my son December 13th. So this was in November. So I was already like 34, 35 weeks. So, at that stage too, your blood pressure is spiking like that. They're just like, you got to get the baby out of you now. Like, what's going on? And I even said that when I went there. I was like, I'm not having a baby today. I'm like, I do not have a baby bag. You are not taking this baby out of me today.
So, were there any talks with your blood pressure spiking up? Were they pretty confident, like, hey, this will probably level out? Or were there ever talks of, like, hey, we need to keep an eye for preeclampsia or anything like that?
Nothing. I didn't have gestational diabetes, which was surprising because like all the women in my family have gotten gestational diabetes in their pregnancies. And it even stuck for some of them like after the fact. So I was very surprised that I didn't, but didn't have any issues with my blood pressure, didn't have any issues with my sugar. Literally the only thing was like I was losing weight early on. Like I was literally having to drink and sure I couldn't eat. I didn't even want to eat. I was just so upset. So I was losing a lot of weight early on. And then like on my delivery day, I think I was like 292 or 296. Like I finally blew up at the like literally the third trimester. But the first two trimesters, I lost like almost 40 pounds. So like everything just seemed like normal. And then at the end, my son was just like, hey, I'm here. like I'm gonna raise some terror right now. Yep.
So then once you kind of went home and your blood pressure regulated, were they just continuing to see you in office or were there talks of how you would deliver via induction or what that was going to look like as you got closer to that time?
Yeah, so I was still seeing my doctor the twice a week. Just because of the hematoma, he had wanted to continue to see me because it took a while for that bleeding to like actually stop. And like it was literally like within my second trimester. So he's like, I'm just gonna keep seeing you just in case, like, which was fine. Like I had no problem with that. So I kept seeing him the twice a week, and I got more ultrasounds out of it. So I was happy about that too. And then I took the birthing classes at the hospital, and like surprisingly enough, the term that I signed up for, I was the only person. And typically they told me like there's more like people that sign up, but she figured like just because it was like the end of the year, that fall to winter, it's cold, people just want to be bothered. So I was able to get that one-on-one with the nurse that was hosting the birthing classes. So that was great. So I was able to set up like my whole birth plan through those classes because it was like my OB's head nurse that was hosting them. So I was able to like let her know like what my expectations were. She let me know like what is possible, what's not possible, showed me all like the instruments that my doctor uses and explains like the different scenarios as to why he would have to use it. Like if he had to suction out the baby or if he has to stitch you up, what does that look like? She literally had like the fake vagina with the butt and like showing you the different types of tears and everything so that you'll know like, hey, this is what's gonna look like down there if you tear, but it'll be okay. And even the C-section process as well, like showed me like what a wound would look like and what that wound care looks like at home. Like she did all of that throughout. I think the course was like 6 or 8 weeks. I had to go once a week. And so they taught me like through all of that as well, how much bleeding to expect. She had like pads with like juice on them. If it's this much, this is too much, come in, stuff like that. So she did really well with that. And then she also, like during my tour of the hospital, I was able to like actually go into a delivery room and like, what does that look like? What are the things in there? The peanut ball, like all of those things. They showed me like different methods of like, like that pressure on like your lower back and like stretching and just different things to help you like while you're going through labor. So I was able, like I said, I was able to figure out my birth plan there. I did like opt in for like wanting to sit up to deliver. But I also wanted an epidural. And she was like, well, if you have an epidural, you're not really moving. And I was like, but someone can sit me up. Like she was like, okay. She's like, they do have a thing where they like there's I guess like different levels to epidural. So like they might do like an 80% or 90%. So you're still having some like functioning, like you could still feel. So she's like, when they do it like a little bit lesser, that does allow the moms to be able to like push sitting up, or if you want to be like on all fours, because obviously your upper body could support you. So they'll just do like a little bit less on the epidural, is how she explained it to me.
Yeah. I've heard it called like a walking epidural before. I don't think you're actually
Yes.
up and walking, but I think just general that it can be like that was one thing I was surprised of as well with the epidural is like I thought I wasn't going to be able to feel anything, but I could still kind of like scooch my legs around. So
Yep.
it's definitely something you can ask for.
Yeah, and honestly, again, the classes, like, these are things I would have never known. Like, she had all these different and she had videos. Like, honestly, when I say because I've watched only one baby be born in my entire life, and I was 19 years old. Like, my best friend had a baby right after high school. And so that was my only experience with, like, birthing. But she had, like, actual videos of, like, people delivering, getting the C-section, and, like, really seeing what that process looks like so that you know what to expect. And I was very grateful for that because like I said, I really didn't have that experience. And it's just like, man, like this is what's going to be happening. There's going to be a million people in the room and you are going to be wide open for the whole world to see.
Yeah, modesty is out the window.
Yes. But then once I did go into labor, and I went into labor at home, and like in the birthing class, they said like when your water breaks, if it's yellow, there's an infection. And if it's green, that means the baby pooped. So my godmother was with me, and like that night before, she's like, I think you're having that baby. And she's like, where's the baby gonna sleep? I was like, oh, I have a bassinet. Girl, that bassinet was in the closet, in the box. And she was like, we should put that together. So we put it together, like got all his little stuff set up. And I was like, no, I'm not due till Friday. I'll be fine. We went shopping that day, like went out to eat, hanging out. And I was like, tomorrow I have my wax scheduled and I'm getting my nails done tomorrow. Like, I'm not having this baby till Friday. And we're a planned induction because my doctor, he was going on Christmas vacation on the 17th. So I was like, listen, you're delivering my baby. So Friday, induced, this baby will be here by Sunday. You're delivering my baby. I don't care. So it was planned. And sure enough, I woke up that morning, my stomach was lower, and my godmother was like, I think that you're having that baby today. And I was like, oh no, I'm fine. Like, I have my appointment. Stop saying that. So I went to go take my shower. I'm getting ready. And then I was just like, ooh, something feels different. And I literally felt like someone had a spoon and they were like just stirring my stomach. And I was just like, are these contractions? So I'm asking like all of my friends, and everyone's like, girl, we had babies 5, 10 years ago. We don't remember what that feels like. And I'm just like, what are y'all here for if you don't know what the contractions are supposed to feel like? So then I start timing them, and it was like 10 minutes, 8 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's contractions. I'm like, of course, this kid would do this to me. I'm supposed to be getting my feet done and a wax today. And this is the day you want to come. You don't want your mom to be cute at all. You just want her out in the wild. So, and
He
it
just wanted to
was
join the
like,
party. He said, I'm not waiting for
he
you, Mom.
did. He did not care. He was just like, I am coming, lady. You should have made that appointment last week. But yeah, definitely it was the contractions, and I was laying on the floor. I went in the bathroom and I was like kneeling, like doing a little side to side thing. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, God, I know you said because of Eve we're going to have like trouble with like labor pains, but I didn't eat the fruit. And my godmother was cracking up. She's like, girl, if you don't get out that mirror, because she's from Georgia, so she has like a thick Southern accent. It was just hilarious. And she's trying to like help me, the breathing and all of that. And I'm just like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I was like, I just can't believe this baby's doing this to me. But I'm like, no, I've seen women say they labor at home. They get a good, 10, 15 hours. And even my OB told me that you don't have to come in right away. I'm like, before, he's like, eat. He's like, by the time you come in, you're not gonna be able to eat. So he's like, eat at home, try to labor at home as much as you can, so you're not just stuck in here, for the whole time. So I was like, I could still go get my feed done. I'm still thinking everything's fine. I'll labor for a few hours. My water broke and it was green. I'm like, this kid hates me. He is not letting me get anything out of this. He's like, you are gonna go bushy and your feet won't be done. You'll be all right.
I'm sure the doctors had seen it before.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely did. So I'm like, it's green. I just started screaming, it's green, it's green. We have to leave. And my godmother's like, what's green? I was like, my water broke. It's green. We gotta go. And I lived like on the second floor. So I literally stood at the staircase, waited until the contraction came and stopped, and then ran down the stairs because I didn't want to get stuck on the stairs of the contraction. And we went to the hospital, and I called because I literally lived only 2 traffic lights away from the hospital. So I called while we were driving. I was like, hey, my water broke. It's green. I'm on my way in, whatever. And small town, literally the nurse was at the door waiting for me. She was like, it's my lunch break. And I was like, I told you this baby, he's mean. Why? He wouldn't let me eat. Now he's not letting you eat. Why?
He is ready to make his appearance. He's not waiting for anybody.
At all. So she was standing there with her lunchbox. So like I said, I knew the team already because I was going to the classes and I was in the office so much. So they knew me, whatever. So sure enough, went in, they strapped me up and they're like, okay, like we're gonna have your doctor come in. My doctor came in, he spoke with me, and they're like getting, the fetal monitoring and everything like going. And at the time, I didn't know that they couldn't find the heartbeat, but my body just like, I felt very hot. Like I felt like a flame literally from like the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. I just felt like a fire went through me. I just felt so hot and I was just screaming. Like it was just, I was just in a lot of pain. And like, yes, I was already laboring, but it just felt different. And the nurse kept asking me to tell her, she's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What are you feeling? Like, talk to me. And I'm just like screaming, no words, just screaming. And they put like a blue cap on my head. My godmother kissed me on my forehead and she's like, it's going to be okay. And they just started throwing all the pillows because, I saw the little cute stuff online. So I got like all the cute little pillows and like the breastfeeding pillow and the pillow to support my back. And I was just like all cute and ready to go. And they started throwing everything off my bed and just wheeled me down the hall. So when I looked up, I was like, is this the C-section room? And the nurse was like, your doctor will be here in just a few moments. And sure enough, he came and he explained everything to me. And like during with creating my birth plan, I had already said, like, if it's me or the baby, save me. Like, I do not want my child in the earth without their mom. So, I don't care. It was my decision. So my doctor is like, hey, I know you said if it's you or the baby, but I really think that we have a chance to save him since you literally just went into labor, your water just broke. I think that we have a chance. So I'm like, what's going on? And that's when he told me, like, he doesn't have a heart, like they can't sense a heartbeat. They did like even the internal monitoring, whatever, couldn't find a heartbeat. They're like, you're literally 39 weeks and 5 days. Like, I really think if we get this going, we have a chance. And I wasn't sure. And he's like, I need an answer. Like, we can't wait. Like, I know you want to think about this, but we need an answer. So I was like, so what's going to happen? He's like, obviously, we got to do a C-section. And I'm like, okay, but like, what happens? Like, you do the C-section and then what? Like, if you're not able to save him, then what? And he was like, well, we got to get him out first to figure that out. So I said to him, I was like, if you cut me and you leave me with a scar and I don't leave here with a baby, I'll be very upset with you. He's like, so that means I could cut you? I was like, yeah, that means you could cut me. So he asked the nurse who was the on-call anesthesiologist. They said a name. And he said, no, I do not trust him with her. And again, so like that trusting thing, like I really appreciated that about him throughout like my entire experience. So he had said that. And then he asked for like a different anesthesiologist. He was like, please page this person. And the guy came and he was very fast. And my doctor even wore like purple scrubs, my favorite color. And he was just like, we're getting this baby out of here. And I remember like my body was fighting the anesthesia. Like my legs just started shaking because I wasn't moving. My legs were just shaking. And the anesthesiologist was like telling the nurses, like, you guys have to hold her legs. She cannot move. Like her body's rejecting the anesthesia. Like I need you guys to like to be on it. So they're like holding my legs. And then whenever the legs shaking stopped, they laid me down. And I was like, wait, how do we know it's working? My doctor is like, I am not going to cut you first. Like, I'm gonna make sure it's working. So I guess he's like probably touching me or something. He's like, do you feel that? Do you feel this? And I'm just saying no. He's like, okay. So by the time he cuts me, everything's happening. Then a nurse says, oh my gosh, her jewelry. And I had like two nose rings in, like the stud and the hoop, earrings, bracelets, rings, anklet, everything. And he's like, it's too late. He was like, she's literally open. There's nothing that we can do. He was like, just monitor her heart. Because obviously we can't give her oxygen. So you guys need to be monitoring her heart and monitoring her breathing. So like they're doing whatever they're doing. My godmother's in there, she's praying. Because like obviously she knew the situation as well. So she's like praying and whatever. And the anesthesiologist, he's just talking to me. He was like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then he saw my son's head. So he was like, oh, like, I see his head. He has all this hair. They're about to pull him out. Like, and he's just like talking me through the process. And my OB, while he's doing everything, he's talking too. He's like, I located the bladder, the this, the that. Like, he's just talking throughout the entire experience. So I know like what he's doing as well. And then from there, which I didn't know it was 10 minutes. Like I had ended up reading like like our actual chart history later because I was nosy and I wanted to see what actually happened. But it took them 10 minutes to get a heartbeat, like breathing, everything. And I just remember laying there and I kept asking, like, why isn't the baby crying? Why isn't the baby crying? And my godmother, she's like, oh, he's moving. He's just quiet. And I'm just, like, now I'm like, oh, you lied to me. But she needed to. Like in the
She was
moment,
just
I'm
trying to keep
sure,
you calm.
yeah,
Yeah.
keep me calm. Yeah. But in the moment, I'm just like, okay, he's moving. Well, why? Like, what's going on? And then he finally made like the weakest little cry ever, just like a little, ah, and it was quiet, like nothing. And they had to take him away, obviously. They put me in the recovery room. And the pediatrician comes in. She was very nasty to me. She's like, what were you doing? I've been a pediatrician for like how many ever years, she said. She's like, this is the worst condition I've ever seen a baby delivered in. And I'm just like, what? Like, what do you mean? What was I doing? Like, and he had Meconium Aspiration syndrome. So it's like, this is not my fault. Like, I can't force the baby to poop. And then even like with my OB, like I said, he was talking through everything. I heard him saying like, oh my God, this baby was stressed. How did I miss this? How did I miss this? Like I heard him saying that while I'm laying there cut open. So I'm like, clearly if he missed it, I'm not a doctor.
Right. How were you supposed to know? Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, and she's like lecturing me of like how horrible I must have been while I was pregnant. And she's like, I'm making him get checked for like drugs, like all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, like, congratulations, you're not gonna find anything. Like, have fun. I didn't even have like the energy to fight with her. And then she was like, and by the way, you wrote on your birthing plan that you only want your baby to have breast milk. Well, what do you think how do you think he's gonna get breast milk if he's all the way in the NICU and you're here? And I was like, call Ava, which was the lactation consultant, I think it's called. Because I had met with her throughout the birthing classes. She held one with me. So I was like, call Ava. Ava knows I've been producing like literally since like 20 something weeks. Like I even had to get like an ultrasound of my armpits because my milk ducts were so swollen. And they were like, well, let's just make sure that you don't have like breast cancer. Because, in Black women, that's very common. They get a very aggressive form of breast cancer. And I never had that swelling before. So, like I said, my entire pregnancy was drama. So it's like, I'm like, I've been producing for a long time. Go get Ava. And Ava came, she hooked up the pump to me and like just pumping. And I literally like day one, granted, I know it's not the actual milk yet, but it was like 8 ounces just in that
Oh,
moment, which
wow.
was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for that first day.
Yeah. So like the pediatrician, I shut her up with that one. I was like, my baby gonna eat. I got it. Like I know that I have it. Like
And that's just something to note too, that it's really like, I'm so glad that that was fortunate for you that you were having that supply, but it's so common for moms not to have that supply for the first few days. And so for a pediatrician to come in, one, and lecture about something that she probably has no idea about what was going on externally, but then to also add that feeling of shame around breastfeeding, like, that is not a common thing that most people have on day one. So, like, you're setting someone
exactly.
up for shame and to feel this failure that actually is pretty common. So, I am super glad for you that you had it and you were able to be like, "See, I'm gonna take care of this baby." But that's so sad. I'm sorry that that happened.
No, it's okay. Then listen, this is why I advocate for the classes because Ava loved her to death. She literally gave me like these cups that I could start collecting, but I collected and I left it at home. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure my home has a stash. Like, so she gave me like the little cups and I did save them. Granted, yes, she told me to bring them with me, but in the rush, I forgot. And I was just like, whatever. It's on hand. Like, we're good. So I was like, it'll be fine. But even then, like, I feel again, if I wasn't taking the classes, like, I don't think I would have even known. Like, even for me to bring up, like, hey, like, my armpits are hurting me. Like, what's going on? And just all of that. So it's like, it was great that I was even to be able to even show, like, my care team, like, this is what's going on with my body. So they also knew how to guide me. So I think maybe if I wasn't having, like, that production even in my pregnancy, she probably would have said the same thing, like, hey, like moms typically aren't getting milk for the first few days. Do you want to do formula for like, I feel like the conversation would have been that. It just wasn't that because I was producing. But again, like taking the classes helped me to understand that too.
Right, and to know kind of what to expect.
Yes, exactly. 'Cause those expectations, like, listen, you can have the best birth plan step by step, but man, you get in there and everything could go completely opposite of how you planned it, you know? Um, so the pediatrician lectured me, whatever, and then finally, I think the recovery room, you have to stay in there for like 2 hours if I'm not mistaken. And like my godmother's trying to go back and forth between me and the baby, and I was like yelling at her. I was like, "You stay with that baby. He can't talk. He can't do anything. I could at least talk." Like, I'm like, "You don't let them put an IV bag on my baby. Anything they want to give him, it needs to be a shot." And I was like, "You tell that mama farm tech, and I know they could compound anything. I will call the pharmacist up here myself." I was like, I don't want my baby on an IV bag. Shots only. Like, but that was my way of advocating for my son because I already know, like, he's already in the NICU. He's on the oxygen tank. Like, you put an IV bag on him, I'm never gonna get my kid. Like I knew that, you know? So I was just like, no, like do not let them hang a bag on my baby. And sure enough, when she went in there, they were trying to hang a bag like to his foot, I think she said. She was like, his mom said no. Like they'll wheel me down here. Like I'm coming. Like so luckily she was there to do that. And then when I got into my room, finally I threw up as soon as I got in there. I was in there for like all of 5 minutes and just started vomiting everywhere. And then I'm all crying. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, 'cause like literally the nurse was literally just talking to me. I just leaned over and just vomited. Like all over her, the floor, myself, everything. And I'm just hysterical. The nurse, she was great though. They changed, and she changed me before she changed herself. This lady, godsend, because I think I would have been trying to get my vomit clothes off if I was the nurse and then the patient, but she changed me, the sheets, new blanket, everything. She did everything for me first, and she just put like some like garbing thing over her, like I don't even think it was garbing. I was like literally like a plastic bag. She just had to like they want the vomit to still be leaking, like a makeshift. Because yeah, it was definitely she just tied it around her neck. Yeah, so she was so lovely. I was so happy. I felt so bad, but she was great. And then, I still hadn't seen my son. Again, my godmother's going. Everyone's calling me. And I'm like, I haven't seen the baby. I haven't seen the baby. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen him. And then my night nurse, it was like, I think like 1 o'clock in the morning. She's like, hey, you're the mom who hasn't seen her baby, right? And I was like, dang, the whole like hospital knows. Like, she's like, we heard about you. She's like, and you threw up, right? I'm like, oh my God, you guys are talking about me. Like, she was like, listen, she was like, they're busy doing rounds. I'm going to bring the baby to you, but you can't say anything because he's not supposed to leave the NICU. She's like, but I just feel bad. Like, you've had a very rough day and I want you to see your baby. And she brought him to me. Oh my gosh, I was so happy. The best 5 minutes ever. I was like, can I nurse him? Like, y'all got my baby on a bottle. Like, can I nurse my baby? She was like, do it quickly. And she literally gave me 5 minutes with my kid. I was so grateful because I hadn't seen him. I'm like, I don't even know what he looks like for real. Smell him, nothing. I'm like, he's been hearing my voice in my belly all this time and now no mommy. Like, so I was so grateful she let me get him. Even though I know she wasn't supposed to, but like she understood, So she gave me the 5 minutes with him, then she took him back to the NICU. And then I ended up getting him the next day. Because they were like, his breathing was like better. Like it wasn't fully stabilized. So I think they said he was at like 80-something% saturation. So he was like allowed to be in the room with me. And they just had like his oxygen with him still, whatever. And then we ended up spending like 4 days in the hospital. Come to find out with the Meconium Aspiration syndrome, I had a placental abruption, I think is what it's called. Abrasion, abruption, whatever the word is.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we had that going on, of course. He had so much poop. So me and him were both on like 3 or 4 different antibiotics. Of course, I'm like, you just can't make it easy for me. So like it was rough. They were really worried that we were going to get sick, obviously, from the poop and everything. My blood levels were like really, really low. They wanted me to do a blood transfusion. I didn't want to. So my doctor he said he had to like vacuum the poop out of me before sewing me back up. So obviously, I lost blood throughout that process, but I didn't want to. Like my family, my culture, like we don't take strangers' bloods. So I was like, just tell the kitchen to give me greens. Just give me greens. I will eat nothing but greens and protein. I do not want a blood transfusion. So we ended up spending 4 days in there. Which was, probably just all the insurance would cover, like, because it was a C-section. So I think max is 4 days. But then like on that Friday, our labs came back and like everything was fine. So we were able to get discharged and then that was it. And I was at home with this little munchkin, but he was 22 inches. So I delivered, I think, like I said, 292 or 296, something like that. They said I had an excess of amniotic fluid when I was like 30-ish weeks. They said they may have to deliver early if I reached like past a certain like threshold, whatever. So it was just like throughout the pregnancy, there's just always like something next. Like there wasn't just like I had this subchorionic hematoma and then that was it. It's like, oh, well now your armpits are super swollen. Let's go make sure you don't have breast cancer. Then it's this. Then it is just like, is there going to be an appointment where there's nothing else going on and it's just easy breezy? But no, my kid was just like, I'm making my grand entrance. Like, you're going to know about me. I am here. I am big. They projected that he would be like around 10 pounds for delivery. Thankfully, he was only 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Thank the good Lord. Because I don't know what I would have did with a 10-pound baby, but he was really long.
Especially with the C-section, at least if he was bigger. But if you had to push out a 10-pound baby, that's
Listen, I was so worried, but I was determined to push. I did not want a C-section. Like I took the classes, they told me about getting like the dermaplast, the witch hazel, the pods, like putting them in the freezer. I did all of that. I was like, I'm pushing. Like that's why they showed me like what the tears would look like. Again, they're like, you're having a big baby. Like this is what to expect. And but I was prepared for that. I was like, I want to push. And but that just, it's not what happened. But it's okay. Like, it happened the way it was supposed to.
Yep. And like you said, you can go through all of the classes, and it sounds like your hospital and program had a great class that was very thorough and kind of what to expect. But at the end of the day, sometimes it just unfolds in a completely different way. So even in, like you said, a very scary situation, at least you had a familiar doctor and knew a little bit about what to expect that probably made it a little easier in the midst of a very crazy situation.
No, definitely, and honestly, even with the toy, they had, like, this, like, chair that you sit on to get the epidural. Like, I guess, like, when it's more planned, not like me just at the edge of the bed in the C-section room. 'Cause I'm sure it probably wasn't supposed to be like that at all. They just had no other option, but even that, like, when I was pregnant, she allowed me to, like, sit in the chair and, like, see what that experience would feel like if, whatever. So, I'm very grateful for the classes, and honestly, even for the price, it was only $5 for the whole, like I said, it was either 6 or 8 weeks. Other classes, like, I've seen, like, from my friends having kids and stuff like that, other hospitals charge, like, $100, $200, and I'm just like, "What are they teaching for $200 that I, like, paid $5 for?" So, like, with my friends, like, after me of having kids and took classes, they're like, we literally, like, because every time I would leave, I had all the pictures, like, I'm studying them everything. So they're just like, literally everything that you learn, like, you even have more stuff because I had actual, like I said, the nurse had, like, pads with, like, the juice on it to show, like, to indicate, like, because there's, like, red juice. She's like, "They just have pictures," like, some of my other friends, like, "They just have pictures. They didn't have, like, real life things for us to, like, really understand what to expect." So yeah, I'm very grateful that they had it one stood up, but even that they made it affordable, so that more people can take it.
Yeah, absolutely. So once they got him stabilized with oxygen and then all of the blood tests came back and they told you you could go home, how were those first early days postpartum back home?
So the very first night I did cry, like I stood in the shower, I was crying. I don't even know if it was like sad tears, happy, like I don't even know what it was. I just cried. I think that's because I was at home with my baby. And it was like, oh, this is real. Like you got a person that's you're responsible for. Like, and then even when I was pregnant, so let me backtrack just a little bit. When I was pregnant, the hospital did, if you're in your second or third trimester, they did a baby shower. But at the baby shower, it ended up being like mini classes. So they have like the fire station people come and like showed us how to use like how to understand your smoke detector, how to like if the battery low, what to do so that you can make sure your baby, like if there's a fire, at least you'll be alerted, or like if there's like the carbon monoxide, like all of that. They showed us all of that, how to like temperature the water for a baby to give the bath, like all of the things that you would not think of, how to properly clean bottles and sterilize. And again, very grateful. I was not expecting that. I was just going because I thought they were like just be talking to us, not like having actual, like showing that you have a thermometer that you could actually put in the water and it looks like a toy and the baby will like it, but you'll know the temperature of the water and like all that stuff. So, like, my first day home, like, that's what I remembered. Not so much like my delivery, it's just like, man, like, I took those other classes and now I gotta make sure everything in this house is working. So, like, so I think I like felt like a little overwhelmed, like making myself feel overwhelmed because obviously, like, if it's dying, it will beep. You'll know it's dying. But like I'm over here pressing it, making sure it's like beeping when I press it, and like all of this craziness. So I cried the very first night, and my godmother, because I had like a two-bedroom, so she was like in her room, whatever, and she was just like, "Why were you crying?" And I was like, "I wasn't crying." She was like, "I literally heard you crying. Why are you crying?" And I just blurted out in tears some more. So the first 2 weeks my godparents were with me, that was so wonderful. I literally did not do anything but breastfeed that baby. Like they brought him to me to nurse him. I pumped and that was it. I got to sleep. They truly let me recover. That I was so grateful for because I do like from my friends and like seeing things online, like where it's like it's just the mom having to do everything. You're just having to like take care of yourself, take care of this baby, having to cook, all of these things. And I didn't have to do any of that. So I was very grateful for that. And like my godparents like switched off. So my godmother was there for the first 2 weeks, and then my godfather, like she left and then he came. So I had that help. Granted, I used cloth diapers, so my godfather was not changing no diapers. Like, so when he was there, I had to nurse and change diapers, but that was fine. Like, he's mine, so no problem. But yeah, like, I didn't have to do anything. So I was able to like truly recover, truly rest. And like, shoot, I'm not mad. I got to special order all my food. Whatever I wanted, it was cooked. Like, if I wanted lasagna, I got lasagna. If I wanted eggs, if I wanted water, I didn't have to do anything. So I was very, very grateful for that experience.
With your physical recovery from having a lot of blood loss, how was that with the incision healing? Were your energy levels good, or were you just focused on getting as much iron as you could?
Yeah, so definitely the supplements, but even still, because like I was really focusing too with the breastfeeding, so I wanted to make sure I was like really hydrated. So I'm like drinking body armors, drinking coconut water, like not just plain water. My godparents did very well with like making sure I had like a lot of leafy greens in my diet, to like help with that, and then truly just the rest. Like honestly, I think if nothing else, just being able to sleep even if I hear the baby crying, knowing that I don't have to get up, and whether that's morning, afternoon, or night, like that was excellent. So I think the rest more than anything else was really what helped me to recover like faster.
Because your body just went through a major, major event. So being able to have that rest, I think, is so key. And that I know some women aren't fortunate enough to have that. They have to just jump into it, which I think is such a shame. But I'm very thankful that you had the support of them and they were able to be there for you and you were able to take that time, because I know you probably saw like there's an end to this, so I'm going to take the rest while I can get it.
Yes, definitely. And I think even too, just understanding that I had a C-section, because like out of my friend group, I'm the only, well, I have one other friend that had a C-section as well, but everyone else pushed. So I also feel like, not that my friends weren't like as supportive, but it's like, their babies just like when they first had their baby, they're out walking with the baby and they're like, why aren't you like taking the baby out for a walk? And I'm just like, what? I live in Indiana and there's snow outside on the floor. Like, you want me to push a stroller with ice and snow so I could fall, rip my incision open, and then what? Like, so I feel like my friends just like weren't as understanding as I would have liked. But like with my godparents, like they were very understanding in that aspect of like, you don't have to pick up anything, don't do anything, like, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it. Like, so that was very like important for me. I was like very grateful to have someone that understands. So like I said, I just seen it with my friends, and even some of them like, yeah, like you push so you didn't have the C-section, but then you tore. It's like you still have to heal from that too. Like walking your
Yeah.
house or whatever, great, but like you shouldn't be forced to like go walk a mile because you just want to get out of your house. Like you should be able to be in your house
Yep.
and feel like at peace in your own home. But even still, I kept my appointments, like, cause like I said, my godparents are there. So like when you have a C-section, they tell you not to drive, obviously, cause it's a risk. So my godparents were able to take me to my appointments. Like I went to my WIC appointment. They gave me like nursing bras, showed me how to like use my pump with the different types of nursing bras I could pick, which was like most comfortable. Went to the chiropractor with my son. She showed me like how to do like that spinal traction and like turn him upside down. And she's like, that really helps to make sure he doesn't have, what is this word? I don't know if Americans call it gripe. I think that you guys call it gripe here as well. But so that the baby wouldn't have like the gripe in his belly. So like that was very helpful. She had like showed me different things with that and like how to like massage his belly like clockwise and like all these different things to like really help him. So that because obviously his body's adjusting as well. Like he was just in a belly and now he's like in this big bad world. Like, so that was very helpful because like even if he started to get like fussy or if he was gassy, I knew how to massage his belly, how to turn him upside down. So I didn't really have like a lot of those issues with him in comparison to like, some of my friends, like things I see online, like where their babies are like just uncontrollably fussy because they don't feel well. The chiropractor is really able to help me figure those things out with him as well. So I'm happy even that too, like again, having that care team beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so many people view chiropractors as just the ones that like pop your bones and that's it. And so when they hear like, oh, we're going to take my baby to the chiropractor, they don't realize that they can help with a lot of other functions. They're not just like in there popping the baby's neck. Like they can help with many other things.
Yes, but even that too, like, I saw the chiropractor thing is because I saw it online. I didn't know about that. Like, I thought it's just like you said, they just pop your bones. I didn't know you could go because 'cause you're pregnant and you're, like, unaligned and they're trying to, like, get you all nice and straight and help you, like, carry that baby to full term. Because and even, I think it's called spinning babies, if I'm not mistaken, where,
Mhm.
like, they showed me, like, the different, like, things to do at home to, like, help get the baby in the right position and, like, stuff like that. And I learned all that there, and I would have never expected to, like, learn that from a chiropractor. So it was really good.
That's great. And so with your breastfeeding journey, I know you said you latched him when you got home. Were you able to continue that for a time or did you keep pumping as well?
Oh my gosh, I hated pumping. It gave me the worst headaches. I think I pumped until he was like 6 months and that was it. I was done. I'm like, we're on the breast. But I did breastfeed for 2 years and 3 months. So I definitely hit that 2-year mark. Like that was something I generally wanted to do. Like in my culture, breastfeeding for the 2 years is very common. If you can, obviously, like if you're producing the milk. So it's definitely something I wanted to do and I was able to do it. But yeah, the pumping, I hated it. I did not feel well. And I'm like, and I worked from home. So it was like easy. And I had like the in home care as well. So I didn't have to, like, once I started working, I didn't have to worry about going out to work. And I was able to like focus on my work because he was getting taken care of. I didn't have to like try to split the two. So it was very easy, just like, oh, like letting me know, like, hey, the baby's hungry. Like, okay, I'll nurse, whatever. So that was very helpful. I know again not everyone has that option as well to have someone like in the home around the clock with the baby with them. But me being able to have that was also very helpful. So I was able to still like maintain like my job and my sanity and not be like latched with the baby 24/7.
And so I know you had mentioned law school in the beginning of your journey. So do you have any plans or have you started to go back towards that?
Yeah, so honestly, now that I have him and some things have changed in my career, so I am a pharmacy technician. I was working before, like in the PBM space, so pharmacy benefit management space, and I was working with digital communications. So those texts and emails that you get from like your insurance company, and it's like, it's time for a flu shot or da da, like whatever, those campaigns, that's what I was doing. But like since then, that has changed. I feel like I went back to my true passion, which is education. So I oversee like pharmacy technician like education programs. So I'm actually gonna get my master's this year. I'm gonna be starting my master's in health professions education. I still want to go to law school. I just want to wait till he's a little bit older, just so that he has like a little bit more things going on. So it won't be like, ah, mommy's doing homework again. Like I don't really want that. I want him to be like a little bit preoccupied with his own things. But yeah, so I'll be doing that. Just like I said, I feel like the trajectory of my career has changed. Like even being pregnant, like I literally wrote these like 2 degrees. So the master's in health professions education. And then I also was considering a master's in pharmaceutical outcomes and policy. And I had wrote those 2 down on my whiteboard. And I was like, you got to pick one. Like one is going to get you to law school faster. You could still work as like a dean or something in education with the law degree. However, before you get to law school, you got to pick, there has to be something in between now because now you're a mom and you can't just go to, like, well, I could, but I don't want to go to law school right away with this little baby. So like that was my in between. Like I said, I just switched from the PBM space. I'm like, I don't really care about corporate America that much anyway. And if I could do something a little bit nicer, easier, not as demanding, and I could truly give back to people still. Because like obviously when most people work in healthcare is because you want to give back, you want to help others. And as much as I love that, I also understand like corporate greed. Like if I'm able to give back to technicians or technician students who are trying to pursue a new career or advance in their career and I could give back in that way, that makes me feel more fulfilled in my day-to-day job. Or day-to-day life, I should say. So like I was like, okay, you gotta pick a bridge. You're still gonna go to law school, you gotta pick a bridge. So my bridge has been just staying in the education space.
That's amazing. And I think that's such a testament to you had all of these doubts and worries early on in your pregnancy of oh, my plan to go to law school is over, my plan for my career is over, but you're living proof that both can be true, and like you said, it might change direction and it might look a little different, but you can absolutely have a beautiful baby and a family and then still pursue your passions as a woman and your education and your career. So I think it's so great to be able to have both of those things and be an example for other women.
Definitely, and honestly, something my therapist told me then, and I could laugh about it now, she's like, "You make $75,000 a year." She's like, "There's larger families that live on less." And when she said that to me, I was just like, "No, I'm supposed to be rich. It's supposed to be like 250. What do you mean?" I was like, "No." But it makes so much sense. Like really and truly, like there are people that make less and have even more children and they're okay. And like you can be okay. And I feel like like for me, it was just the being content, I think was the issue. Cause like overall me as a person, like I'm always like trying to do the next thing, trying to do the next thing. And I had to get to a stage just within myself of like, enjoy the moment that you're in now. Like I'm sure like, as a mom, like those tired long nights and you're just like, man, like I can't wait till you're older and you're sleeping through the night. Then they're sleeping through the night, but then they're crawling around, getting into everything. And then you're just like, man, I can't wait till you're older so you know not to do this. And I don't gotta run behind you so much. Then they're older and they're running. Like, and then you're just like, man, like I can't wait till you're older so you'll listen more. Like there's always this next thing. And it's just like, no, like just enjoy the moments and the times. Like the late nights, the early mornings. Shoot, my son is 3 and he'll get his little laptop because he has like a little Fisher Price one. He'll be like, look, mommy, homework, do my homework. And I'm just like, man, I didn't really want you to know about homework yet, but I'm happy that you're seeing it's very important to take your education serious, you know? So it's like, he'll grow up and he'll be able to see, like, he still be able to say, my mommy's a lawyer, but he'll also be able to say his mom's a farm tech. And I love that. Like, my son knows that his mommy works in pharmacy. He may not understand like pharmacy technician specifically, but like, cause I've taught like at home. So if he'll hear me talking, like teaching my students and everything. And he'll tell like people that like, mommy teach, mommy talk people, like talk to people. So like he understands a little bit. And I'm just like, yeah, you're seeing your mommy, like she is educating others with the education that she has. And I can't wait to see like that really go into fruition, like for himself, to see what he turns out to be. And, even with me trying to teach him things.
And you being the example of life can throw you unexpected curveballs, but you make the most out of it, and now you're passing that on to him, so that's so special.
Absolutely, and I feel like, oh man, like, even my mom died when I was 18, like, no one would've if anyone would've told me, like, "Oh, you're gonna make X amount of dollars, you're gonna get this degree, you're gonna do this," I would've been like, "Nope, you're lying," like, I probably won't even make it till 25. I'm depressed, I'm miserable, I don't wanna be here, like, I was obviously in a very negative space, I feel like even that too
Yeah.
is just, like, another thing of, like, that resilience, like, life is gonna throw you some curveballs, really and truly, like, and some are small, some are just you wake up this morning and your battery's dead and now you're late to work, you gotta call out, right? That's still a curveball. Or it'll throw like a death in the family and just like, man, like how do I navigate this, So it is definitely like those are like the things that I want him to know. And like as he gets older, like just tell him those things like, hey, life is not gonna be how you plan. It's good to have your plans because when you plan, you're able to prepare, but life is not gonna go the way that you have it planned and you just have to be able to like roll with those punches. And especially because he's a little boy, but he's gonna be a man. Like he's gonna have a whole family depending on him, and he absolutely has to know, like, hey, that's your weight to carry. Like your wife will be the
Yep.
support for sure, but that is your weight to carry. So I definitely want
Yep.
to make sure that he understands that.
And I think as a fellow boy mom, I feel like I'm excited for this next generation of boys that we're raising that are gonna be able to rise to the challenge of those things. So I think you're doing a great job as a boy mom.
It's very, very, very important because I feel like boy moms get a bad rap. Like you see it online, they say stuff just like, no, like that's not because that's a boy mom. They're just weird. Like boy moms, we need to get a better rep. Like we are literally raising future husbands, future fathers, and if you're doing it like you said, like the way that they should be seeing the example, they'll more than likely turn out great and be able to really show the world, like, hey, like, this is the example that they're also going to be setting, like, for their future generations.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Keyerrá. Seriously, your story I know will help so many other moms that are going through similar situations. And you kind of had many different situations and symptoms through pregnancy. So being able to kind of see that on the other end of that, it was a positive outcome and you still had such a positive mindset around it. I think that is a huge thing and will definitely help other moms. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Well, of course. Thank you for having me. And I love the work that you're doing. Like, moms need to hear this. I feel like there's like a lot of shame in like the postpartum experience, and moms don't really talk about, especially if you don't have the help. And it's like, they don't know who to reach out to, what to say. You don't want to say the wrong thing. You're worried they're going to snatch your baby from you if you tell them you're not having the best thoughts. And it's like, that's why, again, I just think it's so important to develop a good relationship with your care team prior to pregnancy, if you can. So that, again, they just know you. They know what's changing. They're seeing it from before, during, and after, and they're able to like help if you need to get prescribed something. Like I know that I did. I was definitely struggling like after, like, with the emotions and everything. So it's just like, yeah, moms need to know, like, hey, have that care team, talk with them, develop that rapport, trust them, allow them to trust you as well, so that you can have that better outcome. Because those nights are long and those mornings are
Yep.
early, but it's not like that forever.
Yep. And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need the help, whether it's from friends, family, your medical team. Like you deserve to get the help you need and you deserve to be whole as a mom and as a woman so that you can be the best version of yourself. So, absolutely don't be afraid or don't be ashamed to reach out for help.
Yeah, definitely don't. And if anyone is shaming you, shame on them, okay? Like any moms hearing this, if you're just like, well, I did ask for help and they shut me down, shame on them. There is someone else, somewhere else. Trust me, your community, you will find it. If you haven't found it, you will find it. Because just like our babies deserve all the support, us as moms, we deserve the support too.
Well, thank you so much, Keyerrá, and we will talk to you on the next one.
Of course. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. If you enjoyed this episode and want more stories just like this one, please be sure to like and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, if you have a moment, please consider leaving us a positive review wherever you're listening to the show. These reviews are the best way for the algorithm to push out our show and get us in front of other plus-size moms who may be looking for a community like this one. Your kind words can help make sure that no one has to go through this journey alone. If you are a fellow plus-size mom and would be interested in sharing your story, please reach out to us at biggerthanbirthpodcast@gmail.com. Use the subject line, "Share my story," and I will be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. Want to put a face to a voice? Head over to any of our social media pages linked in the show notes below to see more photos of today's guest. Any resources or topics discussed in today's episodes will also be linked below. Thanks again for being a part of the Bigger Than Birth community, and we will see you next week. Bye!